I'm afraid it's going to keep going and it's going to get dangerous. A lot of people are going to be in really bad shape. It's going up continuously, and it's not stopping.
The dog days of summer are not the only thing that has Maryland residents heated outside a box retailer in Halethorpe.
I think everything is very, very expensive, and it just gets worse. So it's making it harder and harder for people to just live off one income.
Maryland, they taxing for everything.
With fresh groceries in his car, we asked Maryland resident Anthony if he feels Maryland is competitive with one of its neighboring states. And if you had a choice, do you think that Maryland or Virginia is more affordable right now?
Probably Virginia. Yeah, more than likely it would be Virginia.
A new CNBC poll released just last month shows Virginia ranks number 4 for the country's top states for business in 2025. Meanwhile, Maryland is the second lowest in the Mid-Atlantic, ranked at 32, just behind West Virginia. The survey also ranked each state's current economy and quality of life. Virginia's economy ranked 14 in the country, and its quality of life is within the nation's top 10 at number 8. For Maryland, its economy ranked in the bottom half of the nation at 26. Maryland's quality of life ranked even lower at 27.
Virginia has never been financially stronger.
Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin told us last week he's overjoyed by the financial success of his state.
We have now run $10 billion of surplus revenue in excess of budgets over the last 4 years. And so this year is yet another year of a strong surplus. Relative to the forecast from last summer, we're up roughly $2.7 billion.
Governor Youngkin praised an effort to put tax money back in Virginians' pockets, cutting state taxes by more than $9 billion since 2022.
With the biggest portion of that being a rebate that's coming to everyone this fall, $400 for joint filers and $200 for single filers.
Meanwhile, in Maryland, the state faced a historic $3.3 billion deficit before several mass layoffs at federal agencies. Maryland Governor Wes Moore and the state assembly passed more than $1.6 billion in tax and fee hikes to balance the state's budget, with another structural deficit expected to hit after the midterm elections.
Are Marylanders in a better place in the last 2.5 years in the state of Maryland under Governor Moore?
Absolutely. I think Governor Moore has shown that with a laser-like focus on creating jobs, you can boost an economy from where it was the one he inherited.
Governor Moore's office denied our request for a sit-down interview to discuss the state's economy and budget with the state's chief executive. Instead, we spoke to David Turner, Moore's communications director and senior advisor.
We obviously know we have more work to do, but losing a game to Virginia is not in the cards. The governor doesn't like losing to anyone. What he cares about is making sure that we're making the critical investments that not just win the next year, but win the next decade.
The state has a spending problem, and it's been a spending problem.
Meanwhile, we asked former Maryland Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford why his prior administration, the Hogan-Rutherford administration, continues to be blamed by Moore and his team for the state continuing to fall behind Virginia. The current administration says that the Hogan-Rutherford team left the state in a dismal economic situation. Why would they say that?
I think it's common that you blame the prior administration for certain things, but that's not quite the case. Our last 2 years in office were really coming out of COVID. You know, it was COVID in 2020, 2021 was still COVID, 22 we were starting to recover. We had a budget surplus. You know, we had, employment was running very well. We had 70% approval from the constituents. They liked the job that we were doing. They felt government was working well. I think a good example for anyone who remembers going to Department of Motor Vehicles before we came into office versus, during and after, can point to that as one in particular.
2022 reports from the nonpartisan Maryland Department of Legislative Services shows that the last budget that former Governor Larry Hogan passed left the state with high budget balances. That trend was reversed by Governor Moore his first year in office in 2023. I'm Gary Collins with Spotlight on Maryland.